winds tonight.
And a lot of family pets that amazingly made it through too, though, even though they were in the homes and in some cases found under the rubble themselves.
Terry Swales and the meteorologist team here spent the afternoon tracking every bit of this storm, and Terry joins us now to take us through this track.
Well, earlier this week we were talking to you about the new technology that we had for cases exactly like this. This is our live 3D Doppler radar, and we're going to go back into some archive data that we have of the storm here to give you an idea of what it looked like and how we were able to forecast the actual tornado before it ever even hit a city in our viewing area. Now, if you'll notice the timestamp up here, it says 11:53 in the morning, and already down around Wapello, we're getting our first shear marker here. That's rotation in the storm that could potentially produce a tornado. The actual first tornado did not touch down until around 12:15 when it hit the city of Grandview. So now we're going to take a little bit of a closer perspective on this and give you an idea of what we were seeing with our radar. First of all, we put our storm track on here, and again, we're still at 11:53, and look what we're showing you here. This is the cities in the path of the storm: Grandview, Letts, and Fruitland. And of course, those are the two cities there, Grandview and probably Fruitland, that were hit the hardest by the storm as it moved on to the north and east. Now, we're at 12:15, and look at the classic hook echo here with this portion of the storm, and we'll go in a little bit closer on that and give you another perspective of that, and you can see right in the middle of that hook echo is the city of Fruitland. So at this point, our radar has been dead on, and not only in predicting, but in tracking the storm as it's moved on to the north and east. So this is obviously a real tip-off that you've got a tornado-producing storm, but there are other features that we look for as well. And as we rotate this on the side here, you can actually see the cone or the low-level circulation that's reaching the ground in the city of Fruitland. And of course, here is Muscatine, and that's the next city in line as the tornado heads on to the north and east. Now, if that's not enough, another feature of the storm is what we call velocity mode. And what we do in velocity mode is that we can see the direction of the rain or the wind particles within the actual thunderstorm. And everything that's in green here is moving towards the radar site. Everything that's in red is moving away from it. And again, notice Fruitland here, and you see that little notch right down there where the red is showing up? That is the location of the tornado right over Fruitland. And so in velocity mode, very strong circulation, and our radar pinpointed that perfectly, and from there tracked it right on as it went to the north and east over the western portions of the Muscatine metropolitan area. So the radar did a beautiful job today, and there was certainly some advanced warning thanks to the new technology that we've had here at the station in the past several days. Now, the other thing that's interesting about tornadoes is how we rate them. And we've got some pictures here we wanted to show you and give an idea of how these storms are actually classified in terms of the F scale. You've probably heard about that. And the video will be coming up here in just a second. But again, you're going to see the destruction we showed you a little bit earlier on tonight. But notice there's a house there and a foundation, but not much more of a house anymore. There was a house there is probably a better way of putting it. And as we look at some of these other images here, the trees are pretty well stripped. We actually had some trains that were knocked off the track today, and just some extreme damage. And eventually, we did get to the point where the National Weather Service went down and made the EF scale rating of the tornadoes. And around Grandview, it did come in as an F3 tornado, which means winds of around 140 miles an hour. When the storm got to Muscatine, it was considered an EF2, not quite as strong, but still with winds of around 125 to 130 miles an hour. So this certainly does fit the classification of what we were looking at earlier of F2 and F3 tornadoes. In fact, the definition of the F3 tornado here is severe damage, entire stories of well-constructed houses destroyed, severe damage to large buildings such as shopping malls, trains overturned, trees debarked, heavy cars lifted off the ground and thrown, structures with weak foundations blown away. And that's why earlier today we were thinking this had an excellent chance of reaching F3 status, and surely it has now been confirmed by the National Weather Service.
Yeah, your estimates were right on track as you were looking at the damage and trying to decipher how powerful this storm system was.
Not only that, the radar was right on track too, and that's the most important thing in all this, is that you can give people some advance warning of dangerous situations like we saw today.
You can see it back there, and now we see it here.
Incredible.
And certainly something we don't see very often in this area.
Thank goodness.
An amazing day.
Yes, it's rare. Probably only 10 to 15% of all the tornadoes we see around here would reach F3 status.
As we take you to break now, we want to share with you some images that many of you have sent in to us throughout this next hour and a half.
And when we come back, we'll talk with a man who actually videotaped one of those tornadoes as it was moving through Muscatine County.